Hello, friends. We're back again for our final Zoom video cast for 2020 as the calendar moves to 2021. Hope everyone had a happy, actually a Merry Christmas and an enjoyable holiday weekend. I am Matthew Hatfield. You hear me ordinarily on Saturdays on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1. Opposite that guy, he is the coach, Ed Young of Nansman River, waiting with bated breath to coach some basketball and get his hoops fix. Good to see you, Edward. What did Santa bring you for Christmas?
Peace, tranquility, and rest. And it didn't cost anything, so I'll take those.
Not bad. So any good stocking stuffers you got? Anything you care to share with the audience, or is that all kept in secret? Can't divulge?
No, nothing big news. Nothing earth-shattering. I'm not really on one of these big gift getters. You know, I told some people I don't need anything for Christmas. Let's just get through this year and everybody be safe. I know it sounds corny, but that's just the way I am. When I was a kid, I tore open everybody's present, whether my name was on it or not. But now, no, I'm just thankful for another day. I guess when you get my age, that's all you're thankful is keep getting those days.
My little 4-year-old niece, Noelle, had a great Christmas. She got a little marble track and all kinds of things. She got more gifts as a kid this year than I probably got my entire childhood. I'm very jealous.
Yeah, that's what I do is in terms of watching the kids.
Don't hit a deer wherever you're going over there, by the way. It sounded like you were skidding. Jeez.
Skidding? No.
Okay.
No, I'm traveling once again, but I'm being safe.
All right, good.
But no, it's good watching my fiance's grandchildren, little ones, tearing open every present, and then me trying to put stuff together, and then I end up playing with the toys more than they were. That I like at Christmas. That I like.
That would be. I'd love to see that on video. I hope your fiance got that on video. We can watch it at some point and laugh about it. Well, speaking of gifts, and we'll get to our final NFL Week 17 Pick 3 selections. And we've got Dino's dog as well. He was going to try to join us, but Dino's got a lot of arrangements. It is New Year's Eve, New Year's Day here. So we understand Dino's a busy man, and he's trying to get to 6 straight wins before the playoffs. And we, by the way, will return to the airwaves on ESPN Radio 94.1 as you see me rocking the hat. I'm not rocking a Cardinals hat because right now, it didn't do me too much good luck, if you will, last week. But we'll be back a week from Saturday, January the 9th, in our normal time slot, 10 a.m. to noon. Catch us on ESPN Radio 94.1, ESPN Radio 941.com. And also, you can click the Listen Live link on virginiapreps.com, where we will also archive all of the episodes for 2021. And you can see some episodes or listen to some episodes from 2020 and previously by going to the other tab on virginiapreps.com. So there you have it. But speaking of Christmas gifts, the Old Dominion Monarchs, Ed, Coach Ricky Ronnie, we know they didn't play this year, one of just a couple FBS programs along with Connecticut, the Huskies there that opted not to play. And we understand with health and safety reasons being a big part of that with the coronavirus and pandemic here for COVID-19. They did, had a pretty decent signing class here for the class of 2021. They'll probably add a name or two from it. They had a really good signing class, his first class a year ago with the likes of Lamarion James from Indian River High School in Chesapeake, Malcolm Britt, linebacker from Oscar Smith High in Chesapeake, landing those two players with a lot of FBS, even some Power 5 attention. But they got one through the transfer portal. Back in the summer, Ricky Slade, C.D. Hilton product, all-state performer who went to Penn State, decided to transfer to ODU back home in his state, even though he's from the Prince William Woodbridge area. And now they get one who was from the 757 area code, Darriel D.J Mack, who was the Tidewater Player of the Year at Norview High School, helped lead the Pilots to the state semifinals where they lost to Highland Springs 4 years ago. He was the American Athletic Conference Championship game bowl or championship game MVP for Central Florida when he filled in for Mackenzie Milton against Memphis. We know he opted out this past year with COVID concerns, had a bit of an injury that kept him from getting the starting job the year before. And here he comes to ODU to probably be the front runner to be their dual threat starting quarterback. I think the Monarchs have to be excited about DJ Mack.
Yeah, that sounds like to be a really good pickup from them. They've had a little trouble at the quarterback spot the last couple of years. And I think Mack should be able to solidify that. He's been successful at a decent level. Coming back home is nice because we always hate to see our guys leave the area. But obviously, you've got to do what's best for you. And at that time, that's what he probably figured was best for him. And now he's made a change of heart and coming back. I think that's a tremendous pickup because you're getting an experienced kid as opposed to somebody right out of high school, and then you may have to redshirt him a year, whereas this guy can come in and now he'll have to sit a year, or is he automatically eligible?
To my knowledge, and I don't say this with 100% certainty, I believe he can play right away for 2021 when the Monarchs open up their season on the road at Wake Forest, who they were scheduled to open up this past season there at SB Ballard Stadium at home. Didn't play, obviously, this past year. So he should be ready to go for game one. And you know, from all indications from Ricky Ronnie's conversations with the media, nobody in their practices here kind of took the job or took the bull by the horns to be the starting QB number one, if you will. And I think Mack is a dual threat guy. Again, he accounted for more than 50 touchdowns his last year at Norview. I think he can get the job done and be really effective for them running an offense with him, Ricky Slade in the backfield. And, oh, by the way, they might get another transfer too. I saw this past week. You remember he committed back on our old high school sports talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com radio show to Virginia Tech, changed his mind before signing to go to Maryland. But Taj Capehart, who started at Ocean Lakes and then Catholic High, formerly Bishop Sullivan in Virginia Beach, went to Maryland. Defensive back. I think he's more of a wide receiver, in my personal opinion, than DB. He's on the, I guess you could call it the transfer portal open market. Wouldn't be shocked, not saying it's a definite, wouldn't be shocked if the Monarchs landed him. I'm curious to get your take as a basketball coach. We see this all the time in basketball, college hoops. In fact, ODU's Jeff Jones has had quite a bit of success getting those grad transfers and JUCO products, if you will, to ODU on the men's side for basketball. Do you think with what happened this past year and the direction college football is going, we're going to see more of these? I mean, I noticed the other day, a young man from near your hometown in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, MJ Devonshire, I covered him in a 7-on-7 event for Rivals and Virginia Preps. He went to Kentucky, and now he's transferring back home to play at Pitt. We're seeing more and more college football transfers. Do you think that's going to be a trend, and is it a good thing, bad thing? Not really sure either way.
This is something we have addressed in the past. I just think the difference right now as to yesteryear is the portal, both college football, college basketball, has 4 or 5 times more players than it's ever had. And really, with COVID, you could say that that's playing a special role for whatever reason, or you could say that, which is what I believe more so, and the age-old reason, kids realize it's not for them where they first picked. Something just didn't work. Either they weren't as good as the college thought they would be, they didn't pan out, that you know, there's other players that jumped over them. You know, a lot of young kids out of high school get this big-headed idea that they're going to go somewhere and they're the greatest thing there since through butter, that they're not. Once you go somewhere, even though they want you, you still got to earn your spot pretty much every day, both on and off the fields and courts. And sometimes it's an academic reason. They're maybe not doing quite as well academically, which we almost never hear that. It's usually something about not playing or coaching change, and that does have a reason for a lot of the transfers. There's a coaching change, and new coaches coming in, maybe playing a different style. That kid doesn't fit the style. All of a sudden he goes to the end of the line. They're not up for that. They'll go back on the list. Who wanted me before? And usually it's a local school that really wanted you, and they still want you, still have a need for you, and you become a little bit more marketable to them because you might have a year of experience or two at the college level now. So a lot of different reasons for it. It does not surprise me in the least. Most of the time I just simply say the kid did not pan out. He's not as good as they thought, or he realized he's not as good as he thought. And now you move on and try to get a better fit.
Well, I definitely think it's been a good week for Old Dominion, and we'll see what the future holds for their football program. They needed some good news there, and with not having this season this past year in 2020, and I think they got that with DJ Mack. Hey, before we get to our pick 3 NFL selections, 2 more things I want to hit with you. Did you watch any college hoops NBA action during the holiday break? We made our NBA over-under selections, 3 of them this past week, And I know we had a huge matchup, Gonzaga-UVA last weekend, which Gonzaga won comfortably. I mean, they've been mowing down everybody, whether it be West Virginia, whether it be Kansas, who they scored 102 points on, and Kansas, number 3 team in the country, and UVA, where they almost scored 100, had 21 layups. And UVA go sometimes, 4, 5, 6 weeks without giving up 21 layups. Jalen Suggs, if you haven't seen him, he's a lottery pick, maybe the best recruit Mark Few has ever landed. But did you watch any of that? Some of the Christmas Day NBA action? Anything
Yes,
stand out?
Yes, I've caught. Excuse me. On Christmas Day, I caught a little bit of each game.
Okay.
Definitely been trying to watch some early college hoops because I keep being fearful they're going to shut them all down. By the way, Gonzaga, head, shoulders, and waist above everybody in college basketball. Easy pre-tournament favorite right now. A lot of people thought last year would have been their year, and of course there was no tournament, so they held on. And this year they're even showing more how good they really are with some additions. Head and shoulders above everybody. If you remember last week, I think I did say Gonzaga, Villanova, and Baylor as 3 of my Final Four, and my 4th Final Four would be Iowa.
Iowa.
Go with Iowa. Yeah, I'm going to go with somebody little. I like Iowa's. Excuse me. Garza's going to be a top 5 first team All-American. Mm-hmm. They're a veteran team, and if it's not them, maybe Illinois. It's not your traditional Michigan State out of the Big Ten. Just like we talked about not having a Duke or Carolina maybe as a favorite right now. But I have watched NBA action. A lot of people say early NBA action is not good because guys don't play hard, whatever. I don't like to subscribe to that being a coach. I hope they do go hard. Excuse me. The thing I don't like is this early season sitting of players. The Nets did it a couple days ago. I think their 2nd or 3rd game of the year. Mm-hmm. They set Irvin and Durant. I don't think that's necessary right now. I like to see guys being played in terms of my old school. You just go out and play unless you're hurt. If you're hurt, you're hurt. I understand that part. But nothing's earth-shattering to me in terms of what's going on. That the Clippers the other day got smashed by Dallas. Was it like 70-20 at halftime or something?
Down 50. And then the Bucks, the Bucks and the Heat. Bucks were beating the Heat by about 50 the other day as well.
Yeah. And again, some people will say, that goes to show you guys don't really care about right now, not worried about it. And how do you explain a 50-point deficit at halftime? And then I think the Clippers came back the next day or day after that, and something they won by like 20 over somebody.
They beat Portland just a day or two ago. Yeah, I think it was Portland.
Yeah, it's just hard to figure out. I just don't like seeing the guys being sat, especially when you had fans and you bring a stud player into a new city and he sits. That's not good because those ticket prices go up. Those people pay the price because they want to see a Durant or LeBron James. And if you sit them in another city, that's not right. If you want to sit them in your own city, okay, that's fine because those fans can see them. But right now, without any fans, I guess it's easier to sit players.
Yeah, I think so. And by the way, I watched one of our games where we went head-to-head there on our over picks. You had Orlando's Magic. I had with Cole Anthony, by the way, son of Greg Anthony, and Terrence Ross is playing well off the bench for them. I had OKC with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who had a game winner earlier in the season, and your Magic got the W there. So I'm watching the over-unders very closely now, a little something on the line there for the regular season. I guess the winner gets a bottle of water or who knows, champagne. I can't drink champagne. By the way, I'm on a diet. If folks haven't heard, I'm on a health and wellness diet. I'll tell you more about it in a moment. But the 2 thoughts I have on the basketball, number one, college, I like the Iowa pick. They were another team that got, shall we say, smashed by Gonzaga. Luka Garza, I think, is going to be a wonderful college – he is a wonderful college player. I don't know that he's going to be a great pro. He might be an overseas type of guy. I'm not sure he's a first-rounder. His game – I don't know if he's mobile enough for an NBA game, but he is your prototypical college big man. You know what he is? Someone actually told me this. He's like Tyler Hansbrough now in the college game. He's that type of guy for Fran McCaffrey and the Hawkeyes. So I like that 4th pick there for you. I went with another Big Ten team who lost a tough one of the day in Wisconsin, the Badgers, who got nipped by Mark Turgeon's Terps of Maryland, who I thought was a better team last year. They did beat Old Dominion early in the campaign here back in November. And my other 2 picks, of course, I have Gonzaga as well, like you. I've got UVA, in spite of its struggles. I think they will find a way to get it together as the ACC is still up for grabs. Virginia Tech's been a big surprise. Mike Young is my early ACC coach of the year and could be one of the national coaches of the year. And then the other one I have to go with Gonzaga and Wisconsin is, oh my goodness, who's my fourth? Creighton. Love Creighton. I think they're going to be a team to watch out for as they get to the tournament. Keep a close eye on the Blue Jays and Greg McDermott's squad there. On the NBA, though, one thing I wanted to bring up to you, because you said it off camera, off air. I don't know if you want to address it now. You told me with Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Bucks getting that major deal, you don't think he will ever win an NBA championship in Milwaukee. Do you still stand by that? And will you make that a declaration guarantee right here on the video show?
Based on what they have right now, who knows who they're going to add next year, the following year. But right now, I do not see Milwaukee winning a title in the next year or two. I won't jump too far ahead because you got to wait and see who they add, how the league changes. I just don't have that feel. And I don't think, even though his contract is crazy, he'll end his career in Milwaukee.
Okay. All right. So you didn't quite go on the major limb I was trying to get you to go on.
You want me to guarantee they'll not win in 5 years, within the 5-year period?
I do.
Right now, I feel very confident they will not. It's hard to guarantee because I don't know what's going to change next year, the year after, third year, whatever, in terms of players in the rest of the league. But I really don't feel that he'll win in Milwaukee. I don't know why. I just don't think supporting cast is strong enough. And I think other teams who have a little bit more money to play with will put more pieces together.
Hey, Bird Gang, baby. I got the mug out, and I've been drinking lots and lots of water as I'm on this health and wellness. Shout out to Gary Obenauer, former Great Bridge basketball coach, for coaching me and nudging me along, Ed, as I will try to be a slimmer, better, healthier, smarter, wiser, greater Matt Hatfield for 2021. That's my New Year's resolution. It got started a little bit before the Christmas break and the New Year, but I am on my way to a healthy and very enjoyable lifestyle.
As long as you're feeling good about it, all the Christmas treats didn't get to you. As I told you before, and everybody else has, you got to get through the first month of anything new where you're making a lifestyle change, especially when it comes to eating, because you and I both like to get out and eat. So
yes,
I'll wait to see how it works on you, and then I'll make a decision later as to if I want to get on Gary's plan. I just don't.
There you go, attaboy.
Right now, the funds won't allow it, but you make some changes, and then the key is to get that energy and feel good. You'll be slim, trim, and ready to run quick. You're recruiting. Your stars will go up. You're going to go from a 1-star to 2-star recruit.
Okay. 2-star.
Overboard right now.
I'd like to be a 4.5 or 5-star. Hey,
let's see how you get through this first.
Okay. And we'll get to the Bird Gang here in a moment, as they are trying to play their way into the postseason after last weekend's miserable, and I do mean miserable, showing against the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, they should have a great shot this year. I think half of the LA squad's not even playing.
We'll get to that in a moment. Let's finish up before we do the picks here on college football. You got 2 big games on New Year's Day. Let's break them down or handicap them if we will. Here, we talked a little bit about them last week. Notre Dame, your team, the Fighting Irish, led by ACC Defensive Player of the Year Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah of Bethel High School. And we got pros everywhere, whether it's Major League Baseball, it's the NBA, which we just talked about with Dorian Finney-Smith with the Mavs out of IC Norcom High School. We know about Mike Scott. Played at Deep Creek. So many guys all over the place. NFL, you got a bunch of them, which we've documented before, like Derek Noddy and Jalen Holmes and Josh Sweat and so many others. And in college football, Jeremiah Owusu, the centerpiece of that Notre Dame defense, which is very stingy, did have the rough showing in the ACC Championship against Clemson. Nonetheless, they are a 20-point underdog against the Crimson Tide of Alabama. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. They call me Deacon Blues. You ever hear that song, Steely Dan?
Yeah, but they don't call you a professional singer, so stick to that idea.
I would play it in the background, but I know you're such a Notre Dame fan, so I have great reverence and respect for you on that. I won't completely mess you up. Instead, you just get to hear my lyrics and vocals instead of Steely Dan. 2 things. 1, can Notre Dame win this game? And 2, Can they cover the 20? I think they can cover the 20. I'm not sure they can win this game. A couple things to note, though. Jalen Waddle, Bama's second-best receiver behind Heisman candidate Devontae Smith, the stud wide receiver who catches passes from another Heisman candidate in Mac Jones at quarterback. Jalen Waddle, he's out. The other receiver, he's been out for a long while. If they had him, good luck stopping that passing game at all. It's going to be hard anyways. And Landon Dickinson, the guy that's the center, snapping it to Jones, who's either throwing it to Smith or handing it off to Najee Harris there at running back. Dickinson is out. So you have the starting center and the second wide receiver for Bama out in this game, Ed. And I do think Notre Dame has a chance in this game, but it could come down to Ian Book's ability to not only throw, run the ball, extend plays with his feet against that Bama defense, which has more pros on it than Notre Dame, but statistically has had its struggles, including in the SEC championship game against Florida.
Well, yeah, I'm a big Notre Dame fan, and I don't like the 20-point deficit prediction. I just feel Alabama has a little bit too many weapons. I don't think Notre Dame gets blown out unless they start off bad with some turnovers, whatever. Then Alabama's going to take advantage of your mistakes. That's one thing against Alabama. You cannot make many dumb mistakes, if any mistakes. People always say dumb mistakes. I haven't seen too many smart mistakes either in the sport world, but that's going to be the key. And Book is a determining factor, I think, for Notre Dame, without a doubt. He's definitely going to be a factor for them in terms of how he goes. I try to listen to all the experts, try to get in some insight. And what I kind of agree on a couple of things I heard. Whoever controls the line of scrimmage. Now, I know in most football games, you always say that. But I also think when you got stud athletes, quarterback, running back, receiver, you don't need a lot of time. Their line doesn't come into that big of a play. I think in this game it will. If Notre Dame can control the line of scrimmage on offense, get some yardage here and there without, probably not going to make no big-time play, no 50-yard pass or whatever, they can hang in there. And defensively, somebody like Jeremiah is going to have to be very disruptive. There is so many weapons for Alabama that I do believe that the Notre Dame defensive line can cause some issue, but they're going to have to get in that backfield quick, because one thing about Alabama as a quarterback, they get rid of the ball quickly. They do not hold on and lead to dumb mistakes back there. But I think Notre Dame's defensive line is better than Alabama offensive line if you can compare defense and offensive line. Now they just got to go out there in the game and prove that. And somebody like Owusu, who is a game breaker on defense, if he can have his best game of his career in this game, then yes, Notre Dame has a chance to win. I don't think they'll get blown out. I think, like you, they'll cover the spread.
So give me a
score.
Right now, give me a score. Go ahead. Give me a score.
I would say maybe 30-24.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. Just a smidge closer to me.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be real high scoring. Again, all predicated on Notre Dame coming out and playing smart, error-free football early. If they make mistakes early and Alabama capitalizes on it, oh boy, the game's over by halftime.
Well, I want to see who the playmaker is on this Bama defense in this game. They've been much maligned. They did show some progress before the SEC championship game, where I think one of their studs who played at IMG Academy in Florida, linebacker Dylan Moses, had some trouble. And, of course, you're covering Kyle Pitts in that passing game with Kyle Trask is very, very hard to defend there. But I will tell you that ultimately I think the Notre Dame offensive line has to be set the tone. You mentioned the defensive line, Ed, with Notre Dame, but I think the offensive line with Liam Eichenberg has to be able to create that push. They control the time of possession category, run the ball effectively. And look, if he can find one of those backs out of the backfield, tight end, complementary receivers to get a matchup one-on-one that they can exploit, good shape. They have a chance to keep this thing tight and even spring the upset, but I just can't see them stopping the passing game. I know Notre Dame's secondary got torched by Clemson. Everybody gets torched by Clemson pretty much with Trevor Lawrence and that receiving core and that passing game. But even with Owusu, who had his best game of his career, arguably defensively against Clemson in the regular season when he created those 2 takeaways and scored a touchdown, even with Owusu and Kyle Hamilton back there, I just don't believe that Notre Dame is going to be able to stop the passing game of one Alabama. I think it's just going to be too much for them. And also you have Harris in the backfield. So I'm going to go 35-20 with Bama, but I will take the Irish getting the points. 20 is just too many. And I think there might be a late touchdown to make it 35-20. So it could be 28-20 till about 4 minutes to go, fourth quarter, and then the Tide put it away there and put it on ice. But I think it will be competitive and much closer than people realize. This Notre Dame defense is legit. I just don't think it can hold up for 4 quarters. It might be about 3.5 until the dam breaks, if you will. A couple touchdowns, maybe late for Bama, put it out of reach. The other game, the Clemson Tigers, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Tigers have not had a lot of success there in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans this past year, losing that one to LSU. Meanwhile, Ohio State haven't done too well head-to-head against the Tigers of Clemson. The Buckeyes, who had the big 16-point lead a year ago, can they get it done in this matchup against Dabo Swinney's crew? We know about the talking points, if you will, going into this one, some of the beef, if you will, some of the disrespect felt by Ohio State, if you will, from Dabo ranking them number 11 in the country. You have 2 excellent quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields for Ohio State. To me, Ed, I don't think either secondary is able to stop either receiving core. When you talk about Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson for Ohio State catching passes from Fields, Amari Rodgers going down the field for Clemson, catching them from Lawrence. This could come down to pass rush, but more importantly, can Ohio State run the ball against that Clemson defensive front? Can Clemson get Travis Etienne on track here to have a monster game? And he's had some good games. ACC's all-time rusher. Can Travis Etienne be the difference maker? I think this spot he is. I'm going to go with Clemson to win this one 42-31 over the Buckeyes of the Ohio State University, which means I have Clemson covering the 7.5. I think much like Alabama, they get a touchdown late to make it a 2-score game and get it done. The thing that would worry me a little bit here for Clemson is their defensive backs. Again, they got to defend Fields, but the one thing that worries me a little bit about Clemson is one of their top safeties is out for the first half of this game, and that's a big, big concern to me, Ed. He got suspended for the first half. Nolan Turner ejected in that ACC championship game. If Ohio State races out to a 2-touchdown lead early, I don't think they'll blow it this time. So Clemson has to start better and just keep their head above water by halftime, and then they're hard to beat.
You know, this game has all the markings of back and forth, tremendous athletes, bulletin board talk, disrespect, don't belong here, our time to win. It has all of that off the field stuff for it. But the bottom line is what you do on that field once that adrenaline stops. Do you execute? Clemson has a little bit of a cloud with their offensive coordinator being out with the COVID. Rumors I heard this morning, there could be some other players or coaches maybe out. Who knows? To be different, I could sit here and try to break it down, whatever. I'm not an expert on it. Earlier in the week, I felt Clemson, but I'm going to be honest right now. I think Ohio State pulls this out.
Do you really? Give me your score. Go ahead.
I'm going to go. They get a lead, and then Clemson roars back, and it's going to end up probably being a 3-4 point game. I'll say 34-30 Ohio State.
34-30 Buckeyes, which will make all the Buckeyes fans, including our pals Rod Johnson and Mike Whittington, happy campers, as well as former Buckeyes standout Jalen Holmes. We have 3 local guys in this game, Ed. Actually, 4 in-state guys. I might be missing one, too, if you want to throw in Kavon Pope of Dinwiddie, who's on the depth chart there for Ohio State. But from the 757 area code, Jordan Williams, defensive tackle, backing up Brian Bresee, ACC Rookie of the Year on defense, and Tyler Davis, the stud D-tackle for Clemson. He is in a rotation, though, and you have corner Sheridan Jones out of Maury High. Jordan played at Cox. Sheridan played at Maury High, and he's slated to start opposite Darion Kendrick at corner. And then for the Buckeyes, you have Taraja Mitchell, who began at Bayside, finished up at Catholic High in Virginia Beach, also known as Bishop Sullivan to many here, but now Catholic. He's one of the backup will linebackers to Pete Warner there. So you think Turner A being out at free safety for the first half could have an effect here on this Clemson defense?
I'm not going to so much hang my hat on that reason. I don't think, for a half it's going to be that big of a deal. I think this game goes down to the wire. There's not going to be – I don't see like a 12, 15, 18, 20-point lead by half. I think it's going to be close. I don't look at that as being a big issue. I really don't.
Well, I am curious to see with Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinator you mentioned, who was out with COVID, if that changes the play calling strategy at all. It usually doesn't, but I'm curious to see what kind of an effect it has early in the game. It takes them a while to get settled in there. Of those three locals, who has the biggest game? Williams at D tackle for Clemson, Jones at corner for Clemson, or Mitchell backup linebacker, maybe some special teams plays for Ohio State? Any idea which those three you think has the biggest game?
I know. I kind of feel Williams on that line.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. These two big games, and I keep thinking line. We're talking so much about all these athletes, somebody like Jeremiah on the defensive end, and most people aren't really talking about the line. I just kind of think in these kind of games, the line play, and of course special teams. I'm always big on special teams. So who makes a big time special team play? I think those are in it. So I'm going to go Williams for Clemson.
Okay. I'm thinking Jones. I'm worried about both secondaries. I'm really worried about all the secondaries in these games. I think Bama's might be in the least bit of trouble because I don't know that Notre Dame's going to air it out entirely. They want to be more ball control. But Jones, if he gets matched up on Smith or one of those not Bama receivers, one of those, if Jones gets matched up on one of those Ohio State stud receivers, it could be a long day. It could be a really long day, and he starts, struggling a bit. So I don't think one guy necessarily will get entirely ripped apart in this game, but, there's going to be some enormous pass plays in that Clemson-Ohio State game. I think it's going to be fireworks for sure. All right, so there you have it, the picks. Are you ready for the NFL Pick 3 selections for week number 17?
Where they play for pay, as you always say.
That's right. Here we go. Let's review.
But remember now, there's a lot of Ohio State, Alabama, and Clemson guys who are being paid to play too, but that's another story.
This is true. All right, let's get the picks review here. How'd you do last week, Ed? Did you do too well or not too well?
I'm going to predict, because I didn't go back and look. Don't tell me I was 1-2.
You won on over 47.5 Miami, Las Vegas. And how about your Raiders? Was that a pathetic finish or what? What are you doing manipulating the clock? You can't do this. Score a stinking touchdown. If you're tied and you want to milk it to kick the field goal, that's fine. But these kickers aren't automatic. Your guy missed the extra point earlier in the quarter, and it bit him in the butt because their defense can't get a stop. That's what you get, Chucky. That's what you get, Gruden and all you Raiders. Now they're going to be outside my house in the bushes ready to strangle me.
That game cost Gruden a whole lot of those people that are behind him. And I love the guy as a coach, but I tell you what, I scratch my head too. They've blown some big time games this year. When they started out so great, when they beat Kansas City, I really felt they had a legit shot of winning the division because they got Kansas City once. Even if they lose to them again, let's hope somebody beats Kansas City along the way.
Played a well second time too, yeah.
Yeah, and then what a disaster. And he ain't going nowhere. That contract's too big. He's not going anywhere. But I'll tell you what, he lost a lot of his fan base last week. Again, being a coach, I don't want to second guess other coaches, but when you got a chance to score, I almost don't care when it is, you got to score. I know there's this idea, well, you don't want to score too early, and now you're up 3, and you give the other team a chance to come down the field and score or whatever. I get that. But when you have a chance to put points on the board, I just think you do that, and then you got to dig in on defense.
Well, ironically, with it being a whisker outcome, you lost Miami -3 despite them winning the game. Dino with his dog won plus the 2.5 plus 3, wherever you had it at. So he's now 9-7, 5 straight wins for Mr. Dino, and you will see his dog appear on your screen below us for this week in week number 17 in the league where they play for pay. I'll actually give it away for those that want to hear me actually vocalize it here because it is going to be potentially going opposite one of ours here in a moment. I think it will. And you lost also on the Washington football team. Dwayne Haskins is out. By the way, that's what you get for making that absolutely ridiculous, shameful comment about the chicken, you moron. They lost covering the 2.5 against Carolina. They got you 1-2 for you, 21-27 on the campaign. No hailing to the football team last week. They blew it.
No, and how about Haskins? Wow.
Terrible. Taylor Heineke only gets in the game and actually does well.
Yeah, and it looks like if Smith doesn't pan out for them this week, Heineke's the guy they got to go to. So,
yeah.
But I tell you what, Dwayne Haskins, boy, young players out there, I mean, he made some bad decision, and there you go. And of course, he had a horrible game right after that. And you can overcome some off-the-court bad decisions field if you can really get it done on the court field, but he didn't do it. And
all right, so
he's 22 years old, he don't have a job.
No. So I took Baltimore -10. They won with ease over the Giants. Big Blue is feeling mighty blue. Seattle -1.5 got it done for me. Check mark against the Rams. Ding, ding. I lost on over 49 Arizona, San Francisco. I don't even want to talk about that game anymore. This makes me so sick. So 28-18-2 for me, 61%. I've clinched the regular season on you. We're getting ready for the playoffs, week 17, which matters the most for you, the playoffs. I get to go first, right? Since I won?
That's right. You won, you go first.
All right. My first selection for week 17 in the league where they play for pay. All right. This is going to go opposite. Oppo, our good friend, Mr. Dino Franza, who is going with the Chiefs plus, the Chiefs. The Chiefs 14-1 Ed as an underdog. Is that crazy or what? Crazy. They're not playing Patrick Mahomes though. Chad Henney's going to be the guy at quarterback.
Right, and they're going to sit some other guys too. This is a tough week to pick because some teams are going to start off sitting everybody. They're going to start off playing people, then sitting them as they go. You don't know. It's a tough week to pick, but I think Kansas City, if the experts are picking them as an underdog only because Mahomes not playing is a joke. That team is very good regardless who's at quarterback.
Well, but I'm going to go opposite, and I'm going to let you hear it as I go opposite because they're playing a team with a 7'5" guy at quarterback. Whether he plays or not, we don't know. His lung was punctured earlier this year. We're talking about Tyrod Taylor of Hampton High, the Virginia Tech Hokie. But I'm going with the rookie, Justin Herbert, and the Lightning Bolts to get it done in what should be Anthony Lynn's final game.
This is why I tell people it's hard for me to work under these conditions.
From Stan Kroenke. Sing along, Ed. New stadium.
Get a stereo that has speakers. What are you using? 2 cups in a string?
Thunderbolts and lightning and smog in the sky. Aye. It's the Los Angeles Chargers song, not the Superchargers song. Sing along. Los Angeles Sublet Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers. That's the pick, not the San Diego Superchargers. Los Angeles Sublet Chargers. Chargers, charge. There you go. That's the first pick. What do you say about that, sir? As I go up to Dino.
Kansas City wins by 14.
Okay. We'll make sure we have that ready to roll when we return on the airwaves on January the 9th, when you are dead wrong.
If not, I'll go to the place and get some chicken and bring it in.
Ooh, I like that. Although I can't eat chicken. I can eat some chicken if it's not fried. In my diet, remember.
Well, I'll eat it in front of you. It's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that counts. You don't care for that Los Angeles Sublet Chargers song, do you? It's not one of your favorites.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, you get to pick the next two, and just don't take another one of my picks because I have another song ready for us. So if you take it, I can't play it. And I don't want to play it too loud. It'll bust the speakers. That's why I got it super low. So there you go.
I'm going with my first one, Tampa Bay, 31-20 over Atlanta.
That's your score.
That's the score I'm going to put in there. I'm going Tampa Bay. What I think it's Tampa Bay minus what, 4.5?
At the current moment that we make this pick, it is Tampa Bay 6.5. So nice try. You've got to lay 6.5 to get this.
I would even lay 7, but I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Okay. Remember, they had to rally against the Falcons a couple weeks ago, but man, oh man, did they look good last weekend against the hapless, hopeless, helpless Detroit Lions.
And my second pick, give me easily New Orleans.
Over New Orleans.
Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Well, indeed. So you're going all NFC South chalk here, if you will. New Orleans clinches a first-round bye. If they win, the Packers lose to the Bears, and the Bears are still trying to play their way into the postseason. And if Seattle is victorious in its matchup with San Francisco. So the Saints still have something to play for there in terms of trying to get the bye. Whether they get it or not, we shall find out. So you're going to go with the Saints to go marching in and get the job done over their NFC South division rival. All division games this week, by the way, against Carolina. I've got it at 6.5. You're okay with that number?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
2 6.5s for you. All right. I looked at over-unders. You know, they've been killing me. So I want to see if you can get this song here to get my next pick. Let's see. We got to crank it up. I don't know if you can hear it or not. Can you hear that? What's that sound like, Edward? You know what that is?
Football team. Players.
DC. Ooh. You know what that is?
I got. It's the team formerly known as the Redskins fight song. I got you.
Washington, rah, rah, rah. Hail to the football team. Hail victory. Dun, 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 dun. Whether it's Smith, players, or Path, fight for all DC. Whether it's Smith, Heineke, it doesn't matter because guess what? The Eagles defense, sorry, Josh Sweat, Oscar Smith, you've been playing your butt off, but the rest of your defensive mates, STINK, stink. And Washington will get it done. By the way, I also like over 43.5 in this game, but the pick officially, the football team, -2. They win the NFC East as either Dallas or the Giants are waiting with bated breath to celebrate Sunday night on NBC after the Washington-Philadelphia game, but you won't get to because Washington will not only win, they will come from behind to win over the EAGLES, and all of formerly known as Redskin Nation will celebrate before Tampa Bay with Tom Brady beats their brains in the first round of playoffs.
You know, I hope Washington wins. I'm not a hater. I hope they win, but I really believe Philadelphia wins that game.
Do you
for
really?
no other reason, just to mess up Washington's chance to move on, because Philly has no chance for playoffs, so they can be disruptive for Washington. Yeah. And if Smith gets hurt again, I'm not sure Heineke, coming from the Old Dominion, is going to be, if he has to come in early, he's going to be for that whole game. I think
got
the Eagles will be
very disruptive. Ed Young's
I hope.
I don't care what everybody says.
And that's why I want him to win, because he's probably going to end up playing, and I want to see him do well.
E-R, hater, red ink, red pen, red ink. Well, my last question before I give you my final pick to go with Washington -2 and the Chargers -3.5. If you're keeping track, Edward has a couple of -6.5 NFC South teams, Bucks and Saints, over the Falcons and Panthers, respectively. Do the Eagles have a good enough offensive line, A, to stop that pass rush, and B, is their defense good enough, or C, doesn't matter because they're going to give Washington a Hurts donut? Get it? Hurts donut.
Yeah, he's going to hurt him all right. I don't know about donuts, but he's going to hurt him. I think he's quick enough, elusive enough to avoid that rush. I think if he get the ball into people's hands quick, he'll be okay. I just got a feeling that Philly's going to do whatever they can, and they're going to muster it up in one game to mess up the Redskins' chance to move on. That's just a feeling.
All right, it's a feeling. All right, the last pick. I like the Ravens. I like the Colts. They're laying big numbers, -12, -14 each. both needing to win to keep those playoff hopes going. We know Baltimore's been a winner for me every time I picked them this year, just about, I think. But I'm looking at 2 over-unders. I'm looking at my Cardinals. Every time I pick the Cardinals game, it doesn't go well for me, and I don't want to get too emotionally invested, even though this will be a week I can play around and do it. I'm going to go with a team that's done well for me, and they've won 2 in a row, and they're going for 3 in a row, except I'm not picking the Jets to win. It's the lowest over-under on the board, Ed, Jets, Patriots. And the reason I'm taking over 39.5 for Jets and Patriots is simply because both of these defenses, you heard what I said about the Eagles, S-T-I-N-K, stink, stink, stink. I don't think they're good enough. The Patriots, to me, gave up against the Bills on Monday Night Football. There's not a lot of incentive in this game. They're out of the playoff hunt. The Jets, they're not getting number 1 pick, so their offense with Sam Darnold, which has looked pretty decent the last couple of weeks, I think will be relatively solid in this game. So give me the Jets, Jets, and the Patriots to combine for at least 40 points. The over-under total is 39.5. I can see the Jets winning this 23-20. I can see the Pats winning it 24-20. I can see it being 28-21. 39.5 is a pretty good bargain and value for a meaningless game between AFC East teams. I have a reason to somewhat watch now. Give me the over of 39.5 with the Jets and the Pats for the final selection for Week 17.
Not bad. I like that. And it can also be 20-20, ends in a tie because nobody will care. And I can also see it being 12-6.
Wouldn't that be the 2020 thing for a game to end 2020 in a tie, except that game we played on January 2nd, so it'll be 2021. Maybe it ends in a tie of 21-21 on 2021. How about that?
Could be. But when's the last time New England was involved in a game that meant absolutely nothing?
Long time.
And it's probably Adam Gaze's last game, and Cam Newton's the last time in a Patriot uniform.
Yeah, we shall see where he ends up. Could be Washington, could be who knows where. Goodness. Probably a backup somewhere. Maybe go be a backup to Lamar in Baltimore or somebody. Who knows? That'll do it for the video Zoom show, our final one for now. We'll do more of these in the future at some point, but hear us 10 a.m. to noon, beginning January the 9th, ESPN Radio 94.1. We make our triumphant return with the coach, Ed Young. I'm Matt Hatfield. Ed's got to get ready to watch that big J.I. Burton Eastside game at 4:45 today, Ed. Get ready for it. Get you some hoops action. And I've watched about 15 games on the NFHS network, getting my hoops fixed.
Well, you know what? You mentioned real quick about a memory of 2020.
Yeah, what's your favorite?
Give
it to us. Go ahead.
Well, it's not a favorite. I just got to pick it. It's a year we've never had before. Seeing high school sports go black. That's a memory I'll never ever forget. We were at up there at where were we at? In Norfolk State, watching some games. And then the next thing you know, getting ready for the state tournament, boom, only one gets played. Everything goes dark. Spring sports go out the window. Now we're looking at winter sports here at the end of 2020. Look like they're going to go out the window. Who knows whether the fall sports will get in. It's been a crazy year, and how I can pick anything else, though I'd love to pick a memory of somebody winning a title or whatever. I have to pick it where it just everything went dark.
Well, mine kind of goes in line with that, Ed, as we bit of do here. And it's on our VA Preps Rivals Twitter account. We'll put up on Virginia Preps. Those who tweet us, a couple people have tweeted us videos of some memories. I know Western Albemarle had like multiple playoff buzzer beaters and hoops. There hasn't been really any football for VHSL teams in 2020. There's been some private schools around the state that have played, your North Crosses, your Atlantic Shores, your Portsmouth Christians, and good for those kids and those coaches. I'm happy for them. But a lot of it has gone dark. We've had this COVID, and there's been way too many deaths. One death is way too many. We've had hundreds upon thousands of deaths all over our nation and our world. And we've lost a lot of major figures in the sporting world. I mean, you think of Kobe Bryant earlier in the year. You think of some of these legendary coaches and people, Casey Jones of Celtics fame, Tommy Heinsohn of Celtics fame. We can go down the list of people. And one that was a 7.57 treasured high school kid, Ashley James. And I think this moment's going to stick in my brain. We were at Norfolk State calling some of those games on the NFHS network. And just to see the community and unity, Ed, of all the people wearing the Long Live AJ shirts, and people, you know, in many ways walking almost hand in hand with the Green Run boys and the Princess Anne girls as they went through that very trying time. That's going to stick in my memory as long as I live, just to, you know, lose a a special young man who had such a bright future and was a very talented basketball player. I know he beat your team in a half-court shot in the playoffs the year before, and he had a bright future ahead of him with Missouri State. But we lost so many people, whether it's Kobe, whether it's AJ, whoever it was. But it just showed you that, unfortunately, with tragedies and with COVID, we as humans, we are able to come together and rally together and get through tough times. And whatever you believe in, your faith, you rely on that and you just keep pushing through. So hopefully better days are ahead as we go into 2021.
And again, tomorrow's never promised to anybody. If we don't realize that after what's been going on, you got your head in the ground. You've got to live each day with importance. You can't be carrying grudges. You can't hold people. You can't forgive. You got to go out and forgive. You can't just be in a situation where you're mad at people because you didn't get what you want. And again, I always tell people, especially young kids, be grateful for what you have. Stop worried about what you don't have. You have more than you think.
Amen. Well said. And don't be afraid to tell people how much they mean to you and that you love them. I love you, man. As my man Keith Davis used to tell me every time he'd call into our radio station. I know Keith is out there somewhere, either in Chesapeake, Maryland, wherever he is now. But much best wishes to you, Ed, and a happy new year. Enjoy the time, and don't pop too many corks, all right?
Now, I'm going to be enjoying it in the comfort of indoors and with those people that I love. It's going to be a good one. I wish you the best too, and I'm looking forward to next Saturday getting back in the studio.
He is the head coach, Ed Young. I'm the corkless Matt Hatfield, and we'll talk to you again soon on ESPN Radio 94.1. Happy holidays and a happy new year. We'll catch you in 2021.
Happy New Year, man.